Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories. I'm so glad that you're here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Tana Mason, who is a volunteer puppy raiser for the Guide Dog Foundation. I learned some incredible information about how these puppies are raised and trained to go on to become service dogs and to help people that need them. It's an amazing program I was excited to learn about. Our word of the week this week
It's the word of the week.
is purpose. It is amazing to me the way these dogs can be trained and raised to serve a very specific purpose for someone that needs help, whether it's someone who is blind or a veteran or whoever it is that needs help. It's amazing to me that these dogs are that intelligent and can learn to serve a specific purpose. And I want to encourage you today that you have a purpose. I don't know what that is, but God knows what it is. You have a purpose on this earth. If you are breathing and living on this planet right now, there is a purpose for your life. And I hope that if you don't know what it is, you will pursue that and figure out what God wants you to do. But you have a purpose, so don't ever think that you don't. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. How's the new puppy?
She is doing extraordinarily well.
Well, that's good.
Yes, yeah. The first night was pretty sleepless.
Yeah,
but she left the nursery on Thursday, on Wednesday afternoon, stayed the night with somebody. First time she's ever been in a crate.
Oh,
And
wow.
Thursday, she flew in from New York on an airplane to Tampa. So she had a big week last week.
Yeah. So you don't train the puppies for the Guide Dog Foundation. You prepare them for the training. Is that correct?
Well, the puppy raisers, we all are volunteers, and we train them in basic obedience and house manners. So we start obviously with potty training. Yes. And we progress from there. She's already knows her name, which she did not have a name until Wednesday. So she's never heard her name called until she actually got here. So she learned her name probably in about 5 minutes. It took me to teach her that. And she now is sitting and she knows her name, and we're working on potty training. But that's basically how I start, because they're so young when they get here.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a lab.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you work with mostly labs, or we have a golden retriever? She's a year old, and she to me is the best dog in the whole world. I just love her so much.
They are very sweet natured. They're very similar nature to the labs. They are super friendly, non-aggressive. They like everybody, So we actually have a golden in our group, in our puppy raiser group now in the greater Tampa area, which is a golden, and she is a day older than my Storm.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So she's a cute little fluff ball.
Oh, they're so sweet, especially when they're puppies. I mean, they're all cute. I've never seen a puppy that wasn't cute.
Right.
So tell me how you got started with this foundation and why you wanted to do what you're doing now.
Well, I had a dachshund for pretty close to, he was almost 16. And I had to put him down last year in March. And I had already looked at a couple of opportunities to train puppies, but I wasn't comfortable doing that with him being a geriatric. He was deaf, and fortunately, I taught him hand signals when he was a baby. So I was still able to communicate with him. But it just got to the point where he was not living a good life. So I put him down, and then I started this journey with Leslie, and I researched several different organizations. There is a guide dog organization that is fairly close to me, actually. It's about 2 hours away, as opposed to several states north.
Right. Right.
But the Guide Dog Foundation also has under their umbrella the America's Vet Dogs, which is my mother's side of the family. All her brothers, she's the only daughter, all her brothers and my grandfather all served in the military. My only son was in the Army. So that's kind of near and dear to my heart. So I was hoping to raise a vet dog someday, and now I have one.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So I probably could learn a lot from you. So our Penny, she's very sweet, and she is, when people come over, she gets very intimidated with lots of people in the house. And she is the friendliest, but she will bark while she's running away from you. She's not aggressive at all. She's scared of a lot of things. Actually, it's pretty funny, but she's the sweetest. And the reason we got her, we have a dog that's 15, and we didn't think he was going to be around, very long, and he's still here. So we got her last year, and I have 2 young granddaughters, and I wanted a dog that I knew would be gentle, that, could grow up with them, and that I wouldn't have to be worried about being aggressive with her. And oh my goodness, it has been perfect. I mean, she loves them so much, and they're, it's like she knows. I have a son with autism.
Oh yes, they know.
They know. It's like they know how they can act with certain people, because she gets crazy with my husband because she knows he will play with her wild, but she doesn't do that to me. She doesn't do that to my son or the girl. So she just knows. But as far as training goes, I'm sure I could learn a lot.
Well, everybody that sees me out in public, when I had Leslie, was training, she was, I think, probably has turned out to be the most perfect dog I'll ever own, because she was reassigned as a pet, because she is very vocal. The 9 out of her 11 siblings were all reassigned, and she was the last one hanging on. Because she just was so good. They do a thing called a YODA, which is a year-old dog assessment. And at that YODA, they go through a series of exercises with the dogs. And one of the exercises is they put on the guide dog harness, and they walk away with them. And the guide dog harness probably weighs close to 20 pounds. I mean, it's super heavy because it's double stitched leather with steel and all these things, buckles. And so our puppy advisor for our area, she came from Georgia, and she did the YODA. She put the harness on her, and she walked off like she had done it her whole life. I was bawling my eyes out.
I bet. That would
because I was just busting with pride,
Yes.
I had seen some other dogs do their YODA, and they kind of duck their butt, and they're not comfortable in the harness, right away. And but I was like a proud mama, at college graduation.
Yes. Do you get super attached to these dogs? Like, how long do you have them before you?
Well, they come to us at about 3 months old, somewhere around there. And we have them till we're about 18 to 20 months old. So we've got them around 15 months, just over a year. And when Leslie got here, she was a little tyke, and she was very sick because she came down on a van from New York, and it's a pretty grueling journey.
Yes.
For the puppies that age, they're in crates, and they're together in the back of this van. And, they don't get a whole lot of water and food breaks and things like that. They stop overnight at a prison in North Georgia, and they stay there. And then they come on down to Florida. And when she got here, she had a little bit of a medical issue, and she was pretty sick, pretty not feeling well. So I immediately got attached to her, and I won't make that mistake again. But I got really, really attached to her. So I can't say I'm I'm very disappointed that she didn't go on to do what I know she could do,
Right.
but I'm not disappointed that she's my pet now.
Yes.
So I have
Yeah.
very mixed emotions still about that situation, but it just wasn't in the cards for her with the barking. And so,
Right. I can imagine. I can't imagine not being attached when you have them that long.
well, it is hard. It is hard. And they're with you. This is the only volunteership that is 24/7. Literally, they're with you 24/7. And we have a group of people that camp. We call them campers. And when we need a break or we are going somewhere that the pups can't go, overseas or somewhere like that, then they go and they camp with people. So it's kind of a temporary babysitter type situation. So, yeah.
Do you find that a certain kind of dog works best with the training that you do? Or, I know you said you have a golden retriever. Is there any other kind of dogs that y'all use?
We do. The foundation breeds Goldens, and they breed the Labs. They have a breeding program for both those. They do Golden Labs also. Every once in a while, they'll cross those two together.
Yeah.
And they breed just a few poodles because, people are they're hypoallergenic dogs. They have hair instead of fur. So they do breed a handful of those. We have a big puppy raiser group in Georgia, and they have a couple of poodles right now at the University of Georgia. Some of the students there are raisers. But typically they stick with the Goldens, but mostly Labs because of their general nature.
Yes. We have had, the first dog we had was a yellow lab, and she was wonderful. And then our Duke, who was 15, he's a lab and boxer mix, and he's been a great dog. He's been a really good dog. But I think the hyper part of the labs, I was not really looking forward to. I think that's why we kind of were gearing towards a golden this time. But labs are great dogs. I mean, they just are. There's so many qualities about them. They're great.
They are.
When you prepare the dogs, I know you said you're one for a vet. That's what you're working on now. But also, these dogs are trained for the blind. Also, is that right?
Well, they are. Our main mission is for the guide dogs, and they all train the same way as puppies. The guide dog tract. They're all on the guide dog tract as puppies, as far as their milestones of learning. They're supposed to be meeting certain goals by 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. And we have face-to-face meetings with an area coordinator who we take the puppies out in public. Sometimes we go to the airport, or we've been to the aquarium down in Tampa, and we go all over the place. Anywhere that the public is allowed to go, these guide dog puppies in training are allowed to go also.
Okay.
Just like a regular service dog. It doesn't matter that they're in training. So we go all over the place with them and expose them to different things so they are not scared of anything in a year. That is the best thing you can do for a puppy, is to take that everywhere you go. The socializing them. It's very similar to a horse. When a horse is young, if you can get them out and expose them to sounds and sights and movement, it makes a world of difference later in their life.
So if a dog is over a year old, will it still help if we started doing that now with her? Would it help, or is it just too late?
Absolutely. Yeah. But don't take her anywhere where she might be overwhelmed. Like a Christmas parade or something like that. And stay away from that. But any, Home Depot, Lowe's, those places are very dog friendly. Any parks that you can go walk around and just expose her to different things. And that's really the best thing you could ever do for a dog, to make them well adjusted in the world.
Okay. So when you're training these dogs, what are you doing to prepare them for moving on?
we have a training manual that we use, and we also have like a little calendar of milestones that, like I said, like by 4 months, you should be doing this and this and this. Okay. And their training is very similar to any other obedience training that you would do with the regular dog: the sit, the stay, the down, heel, things like that. There is a little bit more of an advanced curriculum for the America's vet dogs that I will get into later on with Storm, where they learn to push buttons to open doors, close drawers, things like that. But the advanced training goes on up there at the foundation. They teach them nightmare interruption. They teach them to turn and watch the veteran's back when they're standing somewhere in public. And so different things like that they teach them. But we're basically teaching them how to behave in the house. Yes. You know, don't run through the house. There's no counter surfing. There's basically, they're not allowed on the furniture. They have a place that they are supposed to lay when you tell them to go to their place. They crate train, and it's just basic obedience. Other than that, and getting them out into the world and socializing them. Yeah,
I love that. I would never have thought about, when you're training a dog, to stand behind someone that, while they're in the crowd, for protection, for paying attention to what's going on. Like, it's amazing to me that you can do that.
Yes.
They're so smart. They're so smart, but
they are very smart, and they're very, very intuitive. Like you were saying, that your dog seems to know how to play with the different family members, that they're very intuitive that way. My dog can sense, she can sense when I get anxious, and she'll kind of nudge my leg or put her head in my lap. And that's something that they teach them to do, but she does it. She just does it intuitively. So
that's amazing to me.
They are amazing animals.
So when you feel like your dog, the one that you're working with, has been trained enough, like, do you know when they're ready to move on, or is there a time limit, or how does that work?
Well, the foundation, they do check in pretty regularly because these dogs are very, they've got a lot of, I guess, money into them already, and even at her young age, because the breeding program is very strong there. And a lot of it is done by volunteers, but the foundation pays for all of the vet care for the dog's life and things like that. So they have a lot of money in them, in the end. Yeah. And so they do check on them pretty regularly with our meetings, our monthly meetings, with our area advisor, who is the one that she arranges the outings and the events that we go once a month. So she gets eyes on the dogs. And then our puppy advisor will be for like the Florida, Georgia raisers. She will see the dogs once a month and gauge their abilities. And then they do that YODA, the year-old dog assessment at a year old. And that is actually videotaped. And that goes to the foundation. And then they make that determination when to bring that dog in. They do them at a year old, and they do them at 15 months. So the earliest they would go in would probably be after that 15-month assessment.
Is this foundation all throughout the United States? I know you're in Florida, and isn't it in New York? The foundation,
the foundation is actually in New York. Yes. Okay. Yes. They do, but they've placed dogs in Puerto Rico. I want to say not Spain, Venezuela. Maybe they placed a vet dog there. So they have
the world. It's not really just here.
No. If there is a veteran, a U.S. veteran in need, if they happen to live overseas, they can take that dog overseas. What they do is they bring the people in. for the guide dogs and the vet dogs. They've got a very nice facility now that has a dorm room set up and a kitchen set up. And they bring the people there for 2 weeks. They go and stay on campus and they train how to handle their dog that they're matched with. And once they leave the foundation, if they need any help at all, of course, the foundation's always there. But if the dog ever needs to come back in for additional training that wasn't needed at the time they were matched with a dog, they do that as well.
That's amazing. And
it really is.
Is there a cost for the veterans or for the people who need the guide dogs, or is this something, or service that is provided for free to those people that need them?
It is absolutely free. They pay nothing.
That's amazing. And how do people sign up for that?
Everything is online. We do have outreach programs that we do. Obviously, the colleges are UF and UGA are pretty heavily involved. I think Clemson is as well now. Mm-hmm. And so that works out really well with the students raising them because they're out and about every day. Doing a lot of walking, and it teaches the dogs to rest while they're in class and things like that. And so they all, mostly up and down the eastern seaboard, I would say is more popular area. Mm-hmm. But they do, once the dogs are finished, they can be placed with a handler that's anywhere. And basically it's kind of just word of mouth. We do events, where we bring attention to the foundation. We do social media posts, things like that. So,
yeah, I just love it. I love this. We are such big dog lovers that I just think it's awesome that they are able to help people. We have dogs, but for companions. And like I said, our kids are grown. And so it's nice to have her here, but it's amazing to me that they're so intelligent. Mm-hmm. And they can learn these kinds of things to really be helpful to people. I think it's wonderful.
Yes. We've had dogs, just from our little group in Tampa. We've had dogs placed with an autistic child. We had a dog last year that went to work for the DEA. He's a bomb sniffer at the Chicago airport. We've had some placed in what's called Blue Path, which is for deaf people. So there's just so many things that they can do with these dogs, and it's never a charge to anybody,
That's amazing. I love it.
Yes.
Was there anything that I haven't asked you about that you want to tell me about this program?
Well, I would like to talk about the Puppy with a Purpose for just a few minutes. Yes. That is, a Puppy with a Purpose is a corporate sponsored dog, which is it could be a major sports team, professional sports team, a big corporation, or just, a corporation that has a philanthropic program, so to say. And my dog, Storm, that was just placed, is a Puppy with a Purpose. Okay. And that purpose for her is going to be a vet dog.
Yes.
And most of the puppies with a purpose are vet dogs. But they pay, I think it's $50,000 to sponsor the dog. They get to name the dog. They pick what dog they want. And this particular corporate sponsor wanted a black female, not in the breeder program. So she had to be released from the breeder program to strictly go and train to be an actual service dog. So she will never be a breeder. Once she comes into heat once, they'll send a space certificate and she'll be done with that. And she will continue her training to be an actual service dog. So the corporate sponsors, actually it started, I think I want to say 2006. The Today Show actually sponsored the very first Puppy with a Purpose. And they do media appearances and social media posts. I always tag the corporate sponsor, and she will attend their quarterly corporate meetings. She went to her first meeting on Friday.
Oh,
So she was a huge hit because the employees had no idea that they were doing this. It's been in the works for close to this whole year. Because the CEO's wife thought, oh, well, I'll raise the puppy, which would have been great. But no, once she figured out what all was involved, she backed out. So that slowed things down. So we were able to coordinate to get her to their fourth quarter meeting on Friday afternoon. So that was exciting for everybody to meet her.
Yes, I bet. That's so fun.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is a wonderful program.
The dogs are reassigned, and the puppy raiser gets first option to adopt because obviously we've got all the time and all the food in them and all the work. So, but if the dogs do not get adopted, there is a waiting list at the foundation for people that want to adopt them as pets. It's pretty long. The waiting list is long.
I bet.
But to apply for a vet dog, it is less than a year wait, and it's I think around 2 years for a guide dog. So,
wow,
yeah. So there's quite the waiting list.
That is a very long waiting list.
Yes.
My goodness. So I know you said y'all deliver these dogs all over. Are there volunteers all over the United States?
Yeah, most of them, like I said, are along the eastern seaboard just because of logistics.
Yes.
So because the puppies were flying, we have a contract with American Airlines that the puppies always fly. The foundation provides a letter for the puppies, and they can fly at any time, anywhere that American Airlines flies. And they were flying the puppies down here with the stewardesses, or I guess flight attendants now they call them. The flight attendants would take the puppies in their little crates, and they would fly them down here. But COVID kind of put the kibosh on all of that. So I'm really hoping that starts up again, because that does enable them to go anywhere American Airlines flies.
Yes, so. And I would imagine I would think that would be easier for them than having to ride in a crate in a van.
For sure. Yes.
I would imagine. Well, I love this program, and I love, like I said, we're big dog lovers. And so I love what you're doing and what this foundation is doing. I had no idea. I've seen guide dogs before. I've seen, emotional support animals and things before, but I didn't realize how in depth the training was and what all they were trained to do. That's amazing to me.
Yes, it is. And it's unfortunately, when you mentioned the ESA dogs, they do not have the same rights under the ADA laws as actual service dogs.
Oh, yeah.
There's a significant difference because, there's no formal training.
Right. Sometimes I think that, and this is terrible, but I think sometimes that is used as an excuse. I think people I don't know what the requirements are for that, but I know personally people who have emotional support animals that just have emotional support animals so that they can take them with them.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And so I hate
unfortunately, it is, it's really horrible. And they make it hard on legitimate service dogs. I have been questioned about the service dog puppy while they're wearing the vest that says exactly the organizations that they're with, and that they are a future service dog. And, and unfortunately, the employees aren't educated at a lot of places, and they will ask questions that are not legal. Yeah. And, and it's because of these people that take their little hairy dog that they can carry around with them and put them in the grocery cart, and they, go everywhere with them. But that's not truly what they don't really have a job. The dog, they're doing it to take the dog with them. The dog really doesn't have a job. So, and, it's literally, you can see the behavior difference when they walk in the door.
Definitely. Definitely.
Leslie's been dining out with us since she was 5 months old.
Oh.
And most of the time, the waitress that is waiting our table when we go to leave, they had no clue she was even there.
Oh my
Because,
goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, they're supposed to go under the table or under your chair, and they're supposed to be unobtrusive and out of the way.
Right.
And it's happened over and over and over. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know you had a dog. It's like, well, that's the point.
That is awesome.
She's not sitting on the bench next to me getting fed, and
yes,
she's
taking for food from everybody.
Right. She's under the table, out of the way, relaxing till she goes back to work. So
yes, that is amazing. I love it. Yes. Well, I appreciate you talking to me today. I'm happy to learn about this program, and I will be happy to share with people about all that y'all are doing.
Thank you. That means the world.
I hope you enjoy little Storm. I know you will.
Yeah, she's very sweet. And I've got Leslie to show her how to be Zen, so she's going to be just fine, I think.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you for doing what you do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.